All right, everybody, welcome to today's episode of the Seven Figures Club podcast. Today, we have an amazing guest with us. We have the world famous Millen Livis, who is a financial expert who helps women and executives and entrepreneurs and business owners to be able to create a financial roadmap to financial independence and success. She has a very unique story that she's going to share with us in just a few moments. She is from Europe and has traveled over to the US and made a massive impact at helping people to achieve financial independence through different strategies, which she's going to share with us today. So very excited to welcome Millen to the podcast. Welcome, Millen.
Thank you so much for having me, Leah. I'm very excited to talk to you and your listeners.
Well, perfect. Why don't we start at the very beginning, Millen, with kind of your childhood, where you were raised. What was it like where you grew up, and what sort of limiting beliefs maybe did you gain along the way that led to different challenges to create financial independence for yourself?
That's a great question. So I grew up in former Soviet Union. Lithuania used to be a former Soviet Union. So you can imagine the level of healthy beliefs that I grew up with. Wow. So my parents were middle-class citizens, and money was a constant source of disagreements, fights, and I developed this sense of money is not for me. Money, I have to chase money. Money is hard to get, and all kinds of very, very unhealthy beliefs around money. So I was very fearful, and that kind of was reflected in many ways in my experiences at the beginning. So I was making very little money there, like working as an employee. I was a software engineer, by the way, software development engineer. And at some point, because of the socialist system, which didn't sit well with me, I was very rebellious. I was very kind of freedom-loving.
Tell us about that system, Millen, because a lot of people, in the news today, they see a lot of things about capitalism versus socialism. And you actually lived in a very socialistic, communistic country for a while. What was the opportunities like there, and how was it different when you came to the US?
Okay, the dream on the surface is beautiful. The reality beneath the surface is a horror. It's a horror, and it breaks my heart to see how naive people are, because I was forced to study Lenin and Marx. So, and I was like, my entire existence was rebelling this, because it was so superficial, because I knew my reality. I knew that my parents were afraid that, my father could be put in jail or would be limited because of whatever his beliefs. We were forced to be in a particular party. My parents were forced to be in a communist party. I was forced since I was very young. I was forced, they had like little parties for children. Like when you are very young, you were, I forgot, I think it's called Oktябрёнок, because the revolution happened in October, right? And then when you grew up, you had to join another party for like young adults. I mean, just think, I have goosebumps thinking that that's how they brainwashed. But it's very interesting, because at the same time, we had good education. Math, science was top notch. And also literature. I mean, I studied literature that my daughter, like American literature, French literature, like, it was very interesting, because education at that time was very solid. I don't know how it is now, but at that time was very solid. So, and people lived very modest lives. Nobody was rich. We didn't have like poor, but everybody was basically equal. And we could not travel. They kept us in the Soviet Union. We were not allowed to travel abroad, so we would not see how people live, what is possible. So you know, when you are trained from the very beginning to think within a box and conform to certain social and economic norms, it becomes your new normal. So, you know, it was my normal until no longer. And that's when we decided to leave the country, and it was very challenging because, you know, it didn't sit well with the government. So they basically took our documents. So we traveled without passports, without any
So the
legal
government didn't want
papers.
you to leave. They were trying to stop you from leaving
Yeah,
the country.
because when people were leaving, they were sharing what is happening there. Okay, and I don't even ask me to go back to Stalin time when people were terrorized, and we had a lot of people who were openly against the regime, against the system, and you know, they were sent, you know, where. So
Millen, how old were you when you left?
early 30s.
Early 30s?
Yeah.
Okay. So you left, you'd grown up, it's everything you knew. But the one word I heard a lot about that you mentioned is forced. You were forced to do things. There wasn't freedom. And for everybody listening to this podcast, like, what's it like when your choices are not, you can't, they're not your own. You don't get to make your own choices.
Yeah, like I told you that we were not allowed to travel in to other countries, and when we decided to leave the country, they said, okay, you cannot sell your anything, like, because they will not allow us to sell my apartment. It was taken. It was taken because it was, you know, you're not part of this country, get out. So when I said that we arrived to the States with nothing, I mean nothing, like maybe $100 in our pockets. That's how we started. Okay.
Yeah.
So you can imagine with all the beliefs around money, how difficult it was. It was scary. It was very scary. But at the same time, I clearly remember the first time I was walking on the streets of New York. We arrived to New York City. I felt at home. I was like, I don't care what will happen next. I will make it happen. And I felt at home. So yeah, that's how it started. And then I didn't speak English, by the way. I forgot to mention this.
So you had to
So
learn English
yeah, so it
in your
took me,
30s.
yes. Well,
Wow.
yeah. So basically, I had to start supporting my family. We were eligible for welfare for like maybe 4 6 months,
Yeah.
but it was
So
not
you
enough
had
for me.
children then too.
Yeah, I had one child, and I came with my then husband, and so I started as a florist assistant. Look at this! I had master's degree in physics. I was highly educated, great experience. But when you don't speak the language, nothing matters. So I started as a florist assistant. I was receiving $4.50 per hour, and I was very happy because it helped me to support my family and eventually buy a very used car so I could go on professional interviews. So within 1 year, I self-taught English, and my first job was IT consultant for Merrill Lynch. And from there, I worked for many Wall Street companies: American Express, Deutsche Bank, Morgan Stanley, Bankers Trust, Dean Witter. Always in the World Trade Center, by the
So
way.
wait, your background was sort of physics and science, but then how did you get into finance?
It was my dream. I
Yeah.
always wanted to learn how to invest in the stock market
Okay.
because, again, subconsciously at this time, I wanted to be free. I didn't want to depend on any government anymore. Not doesn't matter what kind of government it is. I learned my lessons, and that's why financial independence was in the back of my mind from the very beginning. And that's why learning how to invest in the stock market was very important to me. And yeah, so I work for major Wall Street companies for many years, became an executive. But at some point, it just didn't feel right. I felt like I'm literally wasting my life, my time, because it was just, I lost the meaning. By that time, I had a beautiful beautiful house in the suburbs, nice family. On the surface, everything was perfect, but inside, I felt like I was dying. So to make a long story short, I walked out from my marriage. I walked out from my financially comfortable job, prestigious job, and I wasn't sure what to do next. So anyway, I applied to Wharton Business School. So I just thought that maybe that would lead me somewhere where I would feel differently about my work. Well, when you don't know where you're going, all the ways will get you there. I graduated from the Wharton Business School with this prestigious MBA degree. I didn't want to go
Very
back,
prestigious. That's very impressive.
and I still didn't know exactly what Millen wants. So I took a little bit of time. I knew that I didn't want to go back to corporate, but it's not enough to know what you don't know, what you don't want. It's better to know what you want. So, and I started thinking, and I came back to my why I'm here. I wanted to be financially independent. I didn't want to be with any person, just because I wasn't sure if I can support myself. I didn't want to work for any boss and be afraid that he can fire me or lay me off. By the way, I never was fired or laid off. But this fear was there. And I never wanted ever to depend on any government. So I said, I want to be financially independent. And then I started basically researching how can I become financially independent. And the first thing that I found was I had to have multiple sources of income. And I already was investing in the stock market, but I didn't I was not getting enough income from this. So I said, I need to have multiple sources of income and multiple streams of income from each source. So that brought me to the idea of starting a real estate investment company. So I got business partners. We started real estate investment company. I was the one who was managing it. I had a team, and the beginning was great. We were buying properties, we were getting income, and then boom,
But what kind of
2008 happened.
properties were you buying?
We were buying single-family houses and multi-unit buildings.
Like how many units?
Anywhere from for multi-units, it was anywhere from 4 to 11.
Perfect. So single families, 4 to 11 multi-units. And then are you flipping these? Are you holding them for rent and monthly cash flow, or?
Okay, so at the beginning, we were flipping very few, and then we were
Okay.
holding them, because once I got business partners who had money, we didn't need to flip them. Yeah. Okay, so that was my second
What kind of cap rates and returns were you guys trying to target at that time?
They were, at that time, they were very good. I can tell you, well, it depends. It depends on the location, because we had
Sure.
like some properties were in college and
College locations.
college locations,
Sure.
like for example Hoboken, right? Hoboken, not only it has colleges there, but it also very in a close proximity to New York City, so there are a lot of professionals who live there, so that was very good location, and it was easy to rent, etc. But we also were looking for properties in not upscale area where our return would be much higher, and then we would just buy those properties, upgrade them, and rent them out. And that was another very good. So it was like kind of two different strategies, right, that we were pursuing. But
so things are going well. You're running your own real estate investment company. You got your team built. 2008 and 2009 happens. What happens now?
What happens, my business partners freaked out. They were like, we want out, like just sell
it all,
sell it all. And obviously I knew that it was not the right move. We were upside down and I couldn't. And I became very, more than frustrated, very embarrassed, ashamed that, I cannot give them what they wanted, because integrity is my top core value. And I became deeply depressed, seriously depressed. I had to let go of my team. I was living off my savings. And then one day I was driving to see one of my real estate clients, and I got into a car accident. It damaged my neck, didn't have health insurance. So I was a mess. I was a bloody mess. Physically, I was like really in pain. And I was financially, at that time, I was financially broken. And emotionally, I was broke at that time. Broken, I mean. I was financially broken, emotionally broken. And to the point that I just wanted to end my life.
It
I
was
was
a rough
avoiding
time for a
people.
lot of us, really rough time, that 08, 09. So how did you get out of that? How did you fight your way out?
Well, I cannot say that I fought my way out, to be
What
frank. Okay,
what would
so
you
I was
say?
actually on my way down, like very quickly in this downward spiral, and I was like not eating, not sleeping. It was crazy. I never was depressed before, so I wasn't even clear what was happening. I was
Right.
avoiding my classmates, avoiding friends, avoiding people because I was so embarrassed. I felt like, you know, failure was written on my forehead. And just one day, I just happened to meet this woman who spoke with me, and she detected something. And she said, "You have to talk to this guy." And this guy happened to be a life coach. So he contacted me, and we started talking. And I realized that, you know what, failure is not a person. Failure is an event, and there is a life after this event. I also re-evaluated what success means to me. I was definitely at that time was definitely giving other people a lot of stake in my perception of success. So he basically helped me to shift a lot of perceptions that were not loving to me, not kind to me. And guess what? I started functioning better. I started thinking better. I started um, basically just coming back to better version of myself. I started praying. I started meditating intuitively because I was never raised as a religious or spiritual person. It was prohibited in Soviet Union, by the way, right? So for me, it was completely out of the blue when I started praying and I started meditating, and slowly I started feeling better. And guess what? During this time, I made some really, really good investment decisions. And within a few years, I became financially independent.
So in what fields or spaces did you make those investments? Were you back into real estate or what? What'd you do?
Okay, so real estate was one of them. Yes,
Okay.
so I made some really, really good because, you know, it was a time to buy and
Yes,
most
it
people
was.
wanted to sell.
It
So like
did.
I said, when I started functioning better, I started buying where people were selling because my business partners, you know, they saw that I feel better. I found some really good deals, and, you know, they came back. And also, I made great investments in the stock market at that time. So it was a
Individual stocks
combination.
or mutual funds or?
I never buy mutual funds. I don't like them.
Yeah.
I don't believe in them.
Okay.
I buy individual stocks, and I buy in a particular industries that I think have promise, and
Yeah.
ETFs. So stocks and ETFs at that
Very
time.
great. Any specifics you'd like to mention of some of those stocks and why you bought them? And
Well, at that, you know, honestly, at that time, I also bought some, just you mentioned what else? I also bought some annuities at that time.
okay.
And this was the time when everybody was so scared. So they were offering good deals. So, like I said, it was a combination. And I don't remember exactly which stocks, but it was not one stock. It was not five stocks. I believe in strategic allocation of assets.
Yeah.
So I
Based on industry or?
well, based, are you talking about stocks specifically?
Yes.
Yeah, let me just talk about like right now, where I am right now invested, if you don't mind.
Yes,
Like
please do.
yeah, like for example, right now, I believe in particular industries. I believe in biotech right now. Okay, so I have a portfolio, sub-portfolio in my portfolio because I have multiple brokerage accounts. I have a sub-portfolio in my portfolio, stock portfolio, that invest in biotech stocks. I also think that our oil industry right now has been beaten up so badly that it's about time for us to look into that, because I think there are some opportunities there. So I invest in oil ETF. So what else I invest in? I invest in some telemedicine. I think that telemedicine has a future. So you see, it's a matter of observing the trends and go with the trends. So that's how I invest.
The trend is your friend.
Yeah, the trend is your friend, that's for sure. And but so it's we've got to ride the trend as long as we can. And another trend right now, I think, is very important that I'm sure you want to talk about is cryptocurrencies. Yes, because while I am also investor in precious metals, because traditionally with the superinflation that is coming, and I hope everybody who is
100%.
listening to us right now know that.
Tell us why you're very confident that inflation's coming, and then tell us how crypto and different things are going to help us to not be as negatively affected as most people will.
Okay, so like why inflation is coming? Because they don't stop the presses. They print this fiat currencies not only in the U.S. but everywhere around the world. It's like there is no tomorrow. And yeah, maybe for a while it will kind of slide for them, but we will have to pay the ultimate price. And I think that inflation is already noticeable in many real life needs that we have. Like look at the food inflation. Everything is much more expensive than it was before, right? Assets, real assets are more expensive. Real estate
just keeps going up.
Yeah, it keeps going up, and people say like at some point it should stop. But what is the reason for prices to stop? There is no reason, because people want to move value from something that is losing purchasing value, like US dollars, for example, into real assets, and that's why it definitely will keep going, because value of the purchasing power of US dollars is going down, and not only US dollars, euros as well, and other currencies. So people want to invest in real assets, and that's when I say real assets, I'm talking about real estate. I'm talking about maybe some oil, land, and precious metals, gold and silver. But what is interesting that traditionally in this situation, when inflation is knocking on the door, or already entered through the door, right? Usually gold and silver go exponentially higher, but it's not quite the case right now. Yeah. They kind of in a plateau right now, and I'm highly diversified in my portfolio that I designed myself, and I do have allocation in precious metals. But observing what is happening, I said, you know what, cryptos looks like replaced the gold, the security that gold represented for thousands of years, which is it's a new phenomenon.
And so you're feeling like where people used to put their money in hard assets like gold and silver and platinum and those precious metals has now kind of transitioned over to crypto and Bitcoin and Ethereum and Ripple and some of those different.
Yeah, I would not say I would not say that people who, like myself, for example, who like to have allocation in precious metal, that I moved all my allocation from precious metals to cryptos. But I'm definitely diversifying now into cryptos. Okay, something that I would put in precious metals.
For someone who's building that retirement investment account and wants financial independence, what would you suggest is maybe a percentage of their portfolio that they should be considering allocating towards crypto?
Okay, so first of all, it depends on person's risk tolerance. It depends on person's age and particular circumstances. So I'm not gonna prescribe particular allocation. I also want to say that I think it's very unwise to put all your money, and I know some people do that, to put all your money into cryptos, because cryptos are very, very volatile. So you always have to, I like to say that you invest money that you afford to lose. So if it's your last dollars or euros or whatever, definitely not a good idea to put all your monies into cryptos. For a long time, I considered cryptocurrencies as a chaos asset, right? Because like if just like
Do you
gold and
still believe
silver.
do you believe it's a good hedge against inflation?
I do, and more. And something else I want to mention, that some phenomena that I discovered, that there are some cryptos that pay you money for using these cryptos. It's called
Almost
crypto
like a
royalty.
dividend paying stock? Is it
Yeah,
kind
it's
of?
similar to
Yeah.
dividends. Yeah, it's
Okay.
an interesting phenomena because it's basically, they want to increase the usage for particular cryptocurrency because there are thousands of these cryptos, right?
Yeah.
So in order to motivate people to buy this particular cryptos, they started paying what is called crypto royalty. And so if you know which cryptos, and the amount is the percentage is different. Some pay 10%, some pay 15%, so it varies, but it's very similar idea. Well, I don't know if it's similar idea, because dividends pay you based on profits of the company, right? So the crypto royalty, they pay you for usage. So because they want to increase the usage, the more people use this crypto, the better for the crypto, the better chances for this cryptocurrency to become prominent. And that's why they pay for this. So that's the kind of additional income stream, because I'm very big on not just investing in assets that grow in value. I'm very big on investing in assets that provide you income now. Okay,
Cash
so
flow.
cash
Show me
flow,
the
cash
cash
flow, cash
flow,
flow,
right?
cash flow. Yes, yes.
I love it. Well, this has been amazing. So you're a wealth of information and knowledge and experience in real estate and stocks and bonds and precious metals and in cryptocurrency. I think everybody listening is probably saying, well, Millen, how can I work with you? How can I learn what you've learned? How can I make great investment decisions and, come out of 08, 09 recession actually in better shape than before? What's the process? How do we do it? How can we work with you?
So the best I can offer today is to have a complimentary consultation with me, because then I can see exactly what is the situation that you're experiencing right now, what are your goals, and how can we map your steps from where you are right now to where you want to get, right? Because it's all about strategic mapping. And I invite you to book this consultation with me. The time is limited. My time is limited, so jump into this as soon as possible. The link is speakwithmillen.com. It's speak with and then MILLEN, like Nancy.com. Speakwithmillen.com, and book this consultation as soon as possible. And let's just look at your specific situation. And those people who will book this consultation with me, it's complimentary. Value is $500. You will get it for free. In addition to this, I will offer you my beginner investor toolkit, where I have like 8 steps that will help you to start investing strategically. Not just because someone told you buy this crypto, buy this stock, buy this mutual fund, but how to be strategic about your investing. So go to speakwithmillen.com as soon as you can and grab this available spots, very few left. And I would be happy to help you to never worry about money again. That's the name of this consultation. How to never worry about money again. Because once you become financially independent, just like I'm financially independent over 10 years, you will never have to worry about money again.
That's right. P.T. Barnum once said that money is a great servant, but a terrible master. And so you're teaching people how to make money your servant, how to attract it, and how to create financial independence. Guys, that's speakwithmillen, MILLEN.com. Go there. I can't believe she's just offering a free consultation when all of her experience and knowledge could easily make this $1,000 per hour consultation. So this is very limited. I would definitely go to speakwithmillen.com, regardless of where you're at in the investment journey. And she's right. Like inflation, there's no doubt it's coming. Governments can't spend recklessly, and our government is spending recklessly right now. And yes, there's unique situations, but at some point that inflation is going to really wreak havoc. And if you don't have your investments in order, then you'll just spend all your time worrying about money, and life is too precious to spend worrying about money.
Well said, Leo.
Well, Millen, it's been amazing. So speakwithmillen.com, everyone will check that out. And you got the final word? What's the final word? What's the next thing someone should be doing to get their money right?
Let me just say this. Many people I speak to, they feel that financial independence for them is just a pipe dream, because they look at their bank account, they look at what is happening in the country, and they think it's just a pipe dream. And I hope that my story and my kind of rising from the ashes phoenix story inspired you to go for your dream. Go for it. Just find someone, find support, find a guide who could help you to get there faster, because it's absolutely possible. And think in terms of multiple sources of income. Never rely on one source, no matter how great it is, no matter how great your business is right now, no matter how great your stock market portfolio is, or how many Bitcoins you have. Never rely on one source of income. And I stand by this. I live this way.
Amen. Well said, Millen. Well, guys, this has been an amazing podcast. Great value. And what a beautiful story. Millen coming all the way from Lithuania, living the American dream. And that's why we are still in the best country with the best opportunities for the world. So don't listen to all the media and all the negativity. They are just absolutely wrong. And none of them have lived in a communist country. But guess who has? Millen. And she is living the American dream. And you guys all can too. Go to speakwithmillen.com, and we'll see you next time on the Seven Figures Club podcast. Millen, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.